Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing this makeup look right here, and this is a makeup tutorial inspired by Adrienne Houghton's recent upload to YouTube, and it's her everyday makeup look using all drugstore products. I'll link that video down below because I'm going to be following that video exactly. I was super inspired by Adrienne's look, and I purchased all the products from the video. It was her top 10 favorite drugstore picks, so I wanted to put them all to the test and kind of show you guys how they apply on me and what my thoughts on them are. So if you want to see how I got this look based on Adrienne Houghton, then please keep watching. So the thing that surprised me about Adrienne's tutorial was there was no foundation. She just used this, which is the Maybelline Master Conceal Camouflaging Concealer, and I got mine in the shade 20 Light, and there's only I think 5 shades of this, or at least at the store I went to there was only 5 shades on the display, but this is a nice like thick camouflaging concealer, so she just took it and applied it with kind of a flat foundation brush and put this anywhere where she had redness, and under the eyes. So I'm putting it here on my cheeks because I have a lot of scarring on my cheeks and also on my chin and just a little bit here on my forehead, but I'm gonna concentrate a lot of it on this cheek under eye area. For me, I also have a lot of redness on the nose, and it looked like she didn't really apply any of this there in her video, but I'm going to just because I have redness there. And then she went in with a damp beauty blender and just blended all of this out. And I'm super impressed by this product. It's super full coverage, but it does blend out really nicely and doesn't look too cakey and heavy on the skin, even though we're basically using concealer as foundation. I really avoid putting it like on the outer edge of my face and down here because we're gonna add different products there later, and I just don't need that full of coverage in those areas because that's not where I have the darkest blemishes. Now I have that concealer mostly blended out, but in that tutorial, Adrienne also said you can apply a little more and just put on thin layers and keep blending to get a more full coverage look. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more to like this under eye cheek area, and then also where I have kind of these dark spots around the chin. And once again, just going to blend this out. After we're done with concealer, the next step is contouring, and we're gonna use this Maybelline Fit Me Shine Free Balance Foundation, and this is for combination skin, and this is in the shade 355 Coconut, which is the darkest one I think that they do. Again, I was kind of disappointed in Maybelline's shade range with these when I went to the store. There was kind of like a few lighter shades and then one medium shade, and this was kind of the one dark shade. So I'm not sure if that was just the store I went to didn't have all the shades or what, but this was kind of the only shade that looked like it would work for contouring. And this is the exact same one she used in her video, but I'm a lot fairer than she is, so I was kind of worried that this was going to be too intense and too dark. And I actually owned this product before years ago. I've seen lots of people use this as a contour product in tons of other tutorials, and I just didn't reach for it, so I ended up getting rid of it like a long time ago, and I kind of never thought of it again until I saw this video. So I repurchased it, and we're going to use it as contour here. And then she also went under the jawline pretty heavily, and then right under the lip here to make the lip look fuller. And then the hardest part for me is using this kind of thick stick as a nose contour because you want to get kind of a skinny line and not have it be too intense. So I'm trying to do that. It's just really hard for me, I don't know why. And then she kind of had hers taken all the way up to the eyebrow. So I would say if you're doing kind of finer contouring like that on the nose, this product isn't my favorite just because it's so like difficult to get a fine line with, especially once you use it. When it was brand new, there was kind of a thick edge there, but now that I've used it a few times, it's kind of softened and rounded out. So it's a little more difficult. And then I'm just gonna use a stippling brush. This is the Real Techniques Duo Fiber Face Brush, and just kind of blend this out. And as you can see, it does blend out pretty easily. It still looks pretty dark, but I just keep blending it for a long time. And then if it still looks too dark, I go over it with my Beauty Blender. Now I'm going to go in with the Beauty Blender to really kind of blend this out and try to kind of make it a little bit lighter and not so intense, and just diffuse it out so it looks like a more natural contour, especially on the nose here where it's looking really aggressive, and down the neck where it started to look a little dark. What I do like about this is because it's a foundation product and not an actual contour product, like I also have the Wet n Wild contour stick, or there's tons of different contour sticks you can buy. Because it's a foundation stick, I find that it gives like nice coverage to the skin as well. It's not just a like dark add-on product that's going to kind of move your foundation or any other base product around underneath. So I find that this kind of gives me nice additional coverage, especially on the cheeks and on the nose where I have more like blemishes and kind of pores and stuff that I want to hide. This kind of covers those up nicely and doesn't like make the makeup move around. Okay, and now my contour is pretty blended out, so I'm going to go in with the next step, which is this concealer. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow Concealer, and I have mine in the shade 01 Classic Ivory, which is the lightest one. So I'm just going to put this under my eyes. And then because the nose contour was so intense, I'm also going to go down the center of my nose just to try to help diffuse that out. And then Adrienne also put some under her contour here to help define it. And then I'm just gonna add a little bit also on my chin and my forehead. Okay, now that's on, I'm going to take my damp beauty blender and just blend this in everywhere. I've blended out the concealer, and to me, this concealer is just very kind of light coverage, but very dewy and fresh. I think if you had dry skin, this would be absolutely amazing. And I actually really like the effect as well. I just don't think it does too much. I honestly think you could get away with just using the Maybelline Master Conceal and don't necessarily need this additional product. But I definitely would have put the Master Conceal like a little bit more under my eyes. But then what she does next was kind of tap out any creases in the concealer and then use this NYX HD finishing powder in the shade Banana, which I've had on my like grocery list forever and I just haven't picked up. I've been wanting to get it like every time I go to the store, but I kind of loaded up this brush here with it. I'm going to tap off a little excess, make sure I don't have any lines underneath, and then set. This Banana powder is definitely one of my favorite products that I picked up as a result of the video. As I said, it's been on my list for a while, and under the eyes it just looks super beautiful and brightening, but I also use it through my T-zone because personally I'm very oily. So if I don't set this, like all these cream products, then I know I'm gonna get cakey throughout the day. So I just set ever so lightly, kind of try to go around my contour on my nose and then just through the center of my face, just so that I don't get any creasing and gross greasiness throughout the day. And the next product is this L'Oreal True Match Lumi Glow Nude highlighter palette, and this is in the shade 750 Sunkissed, and this is just a super beautiful, warm toned, good for the summer, like all around highlighter palette. And I've seen this in the store before, and I always thought this was kind of like a strobing kit and something that you would only use kind of on the cheeks just as like a highlighting, like kind of blush look. But Adrienne suggests using this dark bronzy shade right here to basically as your bronzer and to set your contour everywhere on the cheeks and on the sides of the nose. So that's what I did, and she used a similar kind of small brush. And honestly, I was super scared when I saw her use this because I was like, oh, that's a shimmery, like honestly, that's a shimmery highlighter color. That's not a good bronzer to put all over the face. And it looks like it's just gonna be super scary, but it actually applies not that shimmery and like nasty like you'd imagine it, something this like glittery would. It actually does look really nice. I mean, obviously on her it looked beautiful, but I was worried how it was gonna look on me. And I just use this all over to set the contour first. So I've applied this to the cheeks, and hopefully you can tell it is obviously a super shimmery product. Like I think if you were gonna be in flash photography or something like that, this is probably just not the way to go. I think there's better matte bronzers from the drugstore, but this is kind of like an interesting everyday look, especially for the summer. I think this kind of glowy bronzy look you can get away with, and it's okay if your bronzer is full of glitter like this. So I actually am okay with it. You can especially see on the forehead too, it looks super shiny. But for me, it kind of just looks like a lit from within look, and I've been wearing this the last few days and no one's been like, oh, what's wrong with your face? So I think it's okay. And then I haven't set my nose contour yet, and this for me is where it really looks just weird on me. So I'm gonna try to tap off a little bit. Ooh, and drop my brush here with the bronzer. Cool. So try again. I'm going to take a little bit of this, and she uses this as eyeshadow and then also to set the nose contour. So I've been lightly trying to take this down the sides of my nose, and for me, just something this glittery on the sides of my nose really kind of just makes my nose look a little bit deformed. I'm not sure what it is, so I'm not loving this too much as setting the nose contour, but we're following the video exactly, so that's what we gotta do. And then I'm only doing two things differently from her video today based on how I've used this look the last couple days. The first one is I actually already applied eyeshadow primer because for me, my eyelids are just so greasy that no matter what, it's gonna move around and I just can't get away with not wearing one. I mean, obviously skip it if you don't need it, but she just takes the same bronzy shade we're using all over the face through the crease, and then she also buffs it out past the lash line here. Okay, so we're done using this dark shade as the bronzer and the eyeshadow. Then the next thing she does is take this super light, beautiful highlight shade and use this as a highlight on the tops of the cheekbones. So I'm taking this on a little highlighter brush, and this highlight has super impressed me. Like the lasting power of this is amazing. It's super pigmented, it goes on super strong and looks super glowy, and at the end of the day, I've been wearing this to work the last 2 days, and at the end of the day, after a full day of work and everything, my highlight is still like solid and beaming. So what I like about it is how intense it is and the lasting power, but for me, it just doesn't diffuse out that naturally, so I always go over this whole look with my beauty blender at the end, even after the powder, just to kind of blend everything together, because as you can see, I mean, that's just like an absolutely beautiful highlight, and I think these two combined are kind of like a nice dupe for the Champagne Pop by Becca, but I think it's just like a little too like stripy. So sometimes you gotta blend it in a little bit, but it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, and then she also uses this on the tip of the nose, which is something I love to do. Highlight the tip there, and then also the Cupid's bow. Okay, so for the second thing that I'm going to switch out from Adrienne's video is my brow product, but I did buy what she recommended, which is the NYX Eye and Eyebrow Pencil, and she uses this as an eyeliner and then also on the brows, and I use this on my brows, and this is the shade Dark Brown, which is the same one she used, and it actually works really well because I have super dark brows, so this was kind of a nice color match. But the formula of this is just a little too creamy, and I touched my brow like this and it literally dragged the product all the way down to here. I had like a hyper long brow to here. So for me, it's just a little too creamy and doesn't quite work for, I think, my oily skin type for on the brows. So I'm actually going to fill in my brows with my favorite everyday brow product, which is the Clinique Superfine Liner for Brows in the shade Soft Brown. So I'm going to use that for my brows, but I'm still going to use this NYX product as my eyeliner because I really do like the look of this kind of like dark brown eyeliner. So I just ever so slightly like dragged it along the upper lash line, and then I'm going to try to drag it out a little further to kind of extend the line of my eye. And that's it. I just did a super delicate light little flick there, nothing crazy. I don't want to get too fancy. This isn't like an intense winged eyeliner look, it's an everyday look. Next step is blush, and we're going to be using this e.l.f. blush palette, and this is in the shade Light. And this actually comes with a huge mirror in it, so this is absolutely wonderful. I'm definitely going to travel with this because this is just awesome. And there's 4 shades in here. There's 4 really good shades. This one's kind of like a tanny. You have a bright, like cool toned pink, a brighter, like more warmy toned, and then a super warm toned that has like a nice like gold shimmer through it. And she uses this one here with the shimmer as an eyeshadow. So I'm going to take that same fluffy brush that I used before and just put a little bit also through the crease just to kind of warm up the eyeshadow look and add a little bit of extra dimension there. And as you can tell, I like barely touch the brush in there and it applies super pigmented. I'm most impressed by this product out of all the products that I bought. I wasn't expecting to love this. I mean, e.l.f., just for how cheap it is, you expect the products to just not work very well, but I find that the blushes are super long lasting. So then I'm going to take, just like she did, a combination of this shade and this shade here. And again, I'm kind of like brushing off the excess on this tissue I have down here because this is so pigmented that I don't want to get too crazy. And then she also takes the blush all over, like anywhere where she applied the contour, so a little bit on the nose and the forehead, and just get the blush everywhere. That's a good tip for everyday look. You can kind of put blush everywhere to kind of blend the whole face together. But this one's so pigmented that I get worried, like you can kind of like see pink splotches now all over my face, but it's gonna come together in the end. Okay, and now that blush, bronzer, highlight, concealer, all the base products are done, I'm going to take my damp beauty blender and I'm going to go back over everything. Like I said, this highlight is so strong. Even going over it with the beauty blender is just not taming it down. This cannot be tamed. It's so beautiful. So I would really recommend these two palettes if you're looking for like good products from the drugstore. I was actually really impressed with their quality. But anyway, I'm just going over the whole face with this beauty blender, especially the nose where that contour looked a little bit like a hot mess here, but just all over to kind of blend everything together. This is a good trick if you get too heavy-handed with anything, or if your blush and bronzer and highlighter just aren't blending together. Go back over it, especially if you use the like kind of corner or section where you used your concealer or base product. If you use that to kind of go back over, it really just helps diffuse the whole look. And for mascara, Adrienne suggests this L'Oreal. It's the Voluminous something Collagen mascara. I'll leave the name down below, but I got mine in the shade Blackest Black. And honestly, I've used several different L'Oreal Voluminous products, but I've never seen this packaging or this collagen one before. But when I went to the store to buy all this stuff, it was right there next to all the other ones, so I don't know why I've never tried it before or never heard anyone talking about it. And it is a pretty decent mascara. I would say it's very like volumizing and not lengthening. Obviously, it's one of their voluminous ones. That makes sense. But it's not my favorite mascara formula from the drugstore, but I actually do really, really like it. So I'm going to keep testing it and I find that it doesn't transfer right away on me, but it does transfer by the end of the day and kind of crumbles and can get all over my face if I'm not careful. So I don't have the final verdict on this one yet. Now moving on to lips, this is the last step, is lip liner and then gloss. And for lip liner, it's the Revlon ColorStay lip liner in the shade, she uses the shade Rose, which I couldn't find anywhere, but this one is blush / rose something. It's like the name in French says Rose, so I'm not sure if this is the right one. I think this one's a little more pinky than the one she used, but it'll work. So I'm just overlining my lips slightly, especially here at the bottom center part. And then I also filled in my whole lips with this lip liner to help make the liner and gloss last longer. And then the gloss is another Revlon product. This is the Revlon Super Lustrous Gloss in the shade Rosy Future. And this is a super beautiful, like shimmery, metallic-y color in the tube. I really, really like this. And Adrienne says to pack on a lot of gloss, so that's what we're gonna do. And that's it. This is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this follow along tutorial based on Adrienne Houghton's makeup tutorial on her All Things Adrienne channel. As always, all the products that I mentioned will be listed in the description box down below, but I'll also link to Adrienne's video so you can see the original tutorial, and she has a link to all the products as well if you want to see what I was inspired by. But I just really love her. I think her makeup always looks flawless, and she does it herself a lot of the times, she says. So I'm just super inspired by her. I love her look. I really like how this whole look came out, and I was super impressed by a lot of these drugstore products. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this makeup tutorial. As always, please subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss my next video. I upload 2 days a week at the moment on Monday and Thursday, and thank you so much for watching.